Here's a stoichiometric example in number 13 where we're dealing with the concentration of one of the reactants and asked how much of the other reactant we would need. First thing you need to do is make sense of what they're asking. So before we jump into the solution, I'd like for you to pause this, read the question, and see if you can determine what's the goal and what is it that they gave you. Okay, go ahead and do that now. Okay, maybe you've had a chance to figure this out. Maybe you're still struggling. But if you read that second sentence there, it says, if you want to dissolve 0.125 grams of silver bromide, how many liters of this other stuff at this particular concentration should you add? So your given is going to be the 0.125 grams of silver bromide, and the goal is to determine how many liters of the sodium thiosulfate you have. It's not uncommon for this to be the type of question that students struggle with, and that's because of the molarity. That 0.0256 big M, that stands for molarity of sodium thiosulfate, that's the concentration. And we learned in a couple chapters ago that concentration is just the number of moles dissolved in 1 liter. So 0.0256 moles per liter is your conversion factor. You can write that as 1 liter over 0.0256 moles or 0.256 moles over 1 liter. Okay, let's proceed towards our approach in solving this. And so we're going to want to start with the given. As you can see here, I started with 0.125 grams of silver bromide. But anytime that we're doing stoichiometry, we want to first make sure that the chemical equation that they've given us is balanced. Because the only way we can convert from grams of one reactant to grams of something else is by having that mole-to-mole ratio. Chemistry happens atom to atom. We don't know necessarily off the back of our hand how many atoms are in 0.125 grams of silver bromide. So the first step always is going to be convert the given into moles. And so that's what we've done. Notice I've circled 0.125 grams and labeled it given. And I labeled the molarity of the sodium thiosulfate as the goal. Started with the given, converted it to moles. 1 mole of silver bromide is 187.77 grams. Once I do that math, I know how many moles I have. The balanced chemical equation tells me, the recipe there, how many moles of the thiosulfate will react with every 1 mole of the silver bromide. So that's our conversion there. And then the last step is just to figure out how many liters are in that many moles of thiosulfate. Well, how are we going to do that? Well, if we just knew how many moles had been dissolved in a certain number of liters, we could use that as a conversion factor. Wait a minute, ding, we do. There are 0.0256 moles have been dissolved in every 1 liter, and that's our last step there. At this point, we pick up the calculator and cram this out. You should get a result of 0.052 liters of sodium thiosulfate. We can pause for a second and look at number 14. What do you think? Is this going to be worked the same way? Well, of course it is. So you can pause this now, take a second and try your hand at number 14. You can always check the solution on the science portal. And happy chemistry.